Treasure Coast Connector, connecting residents and businesses of the Treasure Coast. And here's your host, Ellen Contreras.
Well, welcome to Treasure Coast Connector. I'm your host, Ellen Contreras of the Ferris Group, one of our sponsors. They're a business advisory and management company providing outsourced services for all types of businesses. To learn more about it, check out the website, www.ferrisgroup.com, PHARUSgroup.com, or call me directly, 772-925-4557. Treasure Coast Connector is a show that puts a spotlight on local business owners so we learn why they started their business and what makes their products and services so unique and special. Today, we're going to be talking about legal matters because that is a very important thing to keep up to date on in the areas of personal injury, real estate transactions, and estate planning. And joining me again is Jordan Lulich of Lulich Attorneys and Consultants in Vero Beach and Sebastian. So welcome back, Jordan.
Hey, welcome, Ellen.
Yep.
Thanks for having me. And it's, I was just listening to you give you a little introduction, and you really put the connector in Treasure Coast Connector, because right before the show started, Ellen and I were just chatting like we always do right before, and we were talking about the Bahamas and just the devastation that's going on there. And I asked Ellen for a project that I'm working on if she knows anyone, and she happened to know someone who knows someone. So there you are, just right at it again, helping people connect. And I really appreciate it, Ellen.
And there
Thank
is
you.
another company that is directly affiliated with what you need, so I will also share that information as well. So
Perfect.
No worries about that. And so I always like to just jump right in with the why behind people and what they do. So you've been on the show before, and so people have learned a little bit about you, but there's always that defining moment, that moment when back in your youth, when you said, I want to be an attorney,
Yep.
So share with us that story that got you started on your career path.
And so, as you know by now, I grew up with a father who was an attorney, and sitting around the dining room table, just learning at a very young age how to formulate arguments, identify the issue, and really respond in an articulate, effective way, ingrained in me without me even knowing it until I was probably 12 or 13 years old, that I was just bound to become an attorney. Mm-hmm. And it was just, by the time I got to law school, it was already came second nature to me, because I was already, on essays, when we were asked an essay prompt in law school, I was already able to formulate responses that were, above standards to the professors, because I had been doing it. It was something that I was already accustomed to. Mm-hmm. So it came natural for me because I had the ability to do that and learn from my dad. Mm-hmm. And then when I started to practice, there's always a learning curve when you start to practice. And there was one client I had, and we spent months and months working and advocating and representing the clients, and there was tears and lots of emotions, and the attorney office serves as that buffer for the clients, right? Because we kind of take out the emotions and we're able to look at things objectively. Mm-hmm. And I was doing that for months for this client, and there was nothing like on the day that agreement finally came about and the issue was resolved, there was nothing like seeing that smile. Just it was emanating from her face, and it really instilled with me the assurance that I chose the right career as an attorney.
Well, that's wonderful. Maybe some champagne corks popping.
That was one of the gifts at the table. She got some champagne, and she went home and enjoyed her new home that evening. Oh,
that's exciting. That's very good. So we were talking about the why behind, why people do what they do. For you have really made a big splash in the community. That's how you and I met, was networking. So networking is a big thing. There's lots of small groups. Chambers of commerce are so important for the community to get to know the businesses and vice versa. But then there's here in Vero Beach and Sebastian in Indian River County, we have a lot of causes and projects. So please share with us some of the work that you do like that.
Yeah. So I started to get involved about a year ago, and my first event that I went to was hosted by The Source, and we may have met there. I know we met at numerous places, but we are Vero, we are Sebastian.
Yep.
They're small, little, tight-knit networking groups.
And we are PSL too.
And we are PSL. I don't go to that one, but I know I see you on Facebook all the time at that one, just starting. And they serve really good food, right?
Oh,
that's a bonus.
Very good food. Yes.
And I started going to them, and I got to know Steve, I got to know Tony, I got to know the guys at The Source. I went to go volunteer at The Source, and I was talking with Eric Smith one day at one of the networking events, and he came up to me and he said, "You know, Jordan," he said, "I really can commend you on the way that you speak in front of people." He said, "I want to be a public speaker one day." And I said, "Well, I really studied this hard in law school, and I offered to share some of the, knowledge that I had in that area." And so him and I started a relationship, 6, 7, 8 months ago. And I learned that he really had a very compelling story that he's passionate about, that has a very good message behind. And I said, Eric, I work closely with a friend of mine who specializes in videos. I said that we should put together a documentary for you. And his face just lit up. Yeah. It was one of the most, because everything he's been through, I mean, he went from playing in the NFL to sleeping on the streets of Vero, that it was one of, just helping people like that. It really brings a why in what I do as well. I help legal clients, but I'm also a big advocate in the community. So I'm involved in The Source. I went to Charter High School. I don't know if you know that. Yeah. And when I came back, the board members at Charter, they're all in their 60s and 70s and 80s. So they asked me to sit on the board and kind of be that student voice. And because I was an alumni there, I'm a recent student. And so I got involved with Charter, and I'm very involved each month, going to meetings and helping, offering my opinion on the future of the school. So I'm very passionate about helping organizations like The Source, like Charter, and meeting local businesses and like yourself.
Well, that is wonderful. So another thing I was just thinking of, because this is also in your wheelhouse, you're so passionate about it, and that is real estate. And there's a lot going on in real estate. The market is heating up. Investors are going crazy. And there is virtual real estate closings, digital real estate closings. But a question that I had for you is about the investors. I know you work with the buyers and the sellers directly, but what about real estate investors, not just the owners of the property, but people that want to invest?
Right. So we actually are. So many people don't realize that law firms also can be title companies. So we are an attorney-led title company. Okay. Now, what's special about when you work with us is that we've got the knowledge that provides protection for investors. So absolutely 100% we work with investors, and we offer many different benefits for investors as well. But, one thing that investors have to think about is, like, for example, if you were to purchase an investment home, well, do you purchase it in your name? Do you purchase it in your husband's name? Do you create a company? Because you have assets at risk. Right. So there's considerations that you have to think about before you jump right in and want to flip a house or take on an investment home,
or even a trust,
or maybe in a trust, right? Or there's a lot of different considerations. Or let's say you don't have the money necessarily to purchase a home and you can't qualify for financing. Well, there's different financing options that you can legally that we be able to help you with as well. So we do work with investors, and we've been doing it for 35 years. And my experience is concentrated on real estate. I'm a real estate instructor. I teach real estate classes to new agents, and I help investors, and I help people with residential and commercial sales.
Very cool. So there's a lot of people that are on that fence. They've checked off the boxes of, being in the stock market and having bonds and their CD ladders and all of that wonderful stuff. And then they want to put that pinky toe in the water of real estate investing. So there is nobody better to speak with than Jordan and his father, Stephen, at Lulich Attorneys and Consultants in Sebastian and Vero Beach. So please take down this number. Those that of you are listening, 772-589-5500. and ask for Jordan, and he'll be happy to consult with you.
So just to go off that, I was just thinking that I had a client, and I can't delve into the details of different clients, but there was a circumstance where someone came to see me, and they had a few different properties, some commercial, some residential, and they were rental properties. And they were concerned about asset protection. So what do they do with these properties that are going to ensure that their personal assets are protected, and there's no way that they can be liable personally?
That's true, yeah.
So there, of course, many people know that you can create an LLC. An LLC is a Florida limited liability company.
Okay.
Now, what people don't know is many people try to undertake and do this themselves. And when you create an LLC, if you go on sunbiz.org and create an LLC, you're essentially creating a shell, right? Because what an LLC, the basis, the foundation of an LLC is called an operating agreement. And only attorneys can write operating agreements. Oh. So many people, not knowingly, they go on to Sunbiz, they register an LLC, they think they move their assets into their LLC. But guess what? If they get sued and they go to court, the first question an attorney will ask is, where is your operating agreement? And if they have no operating agreement, they're exposed personally. So that's why these considerations, it's often good to seek the advice of an attorney and have that counsel, because you're talking about large investments. And that's very risky to put those, potentially to be liable personally when you have those such large of investments. So it's very good to consult an attorney and make sure you know that you're taking the right steps.
Yeah, and that is why I love having this show, because I love to, avoid the shoulda, coulda, woulda situation. And there's nothing worse than thinking, and it's not like, well, I think I know everything, but there are people that they don't have that attitude, but they honestly think that they're doing the right thing. So it's so good that you are here to talk to those people before they've made that decision. Okay, here's another thing. What if somebody has already created that LLC? So like they've already done that. You can go back in and help sort them all out.
Correct. You can go back in. I can help them sort it all out. But it's advisable for us to do it from the beginning. But that's not to say that, I had a client who, LegalZoom, right? LegalZoom is a very large company, and they went to use this company to create their business. And when they registered it, they did things that they weren't sure about, and in the end they ended up having to pay extra $200-300 a year extra for something that, if they wouldn't gone to an attorney, they would have had that savings of $300 a year over the course of 4 years, and it would have probably been cheaper using a local attorney. So while these bigger companies out there, they have a great marketing standpoint where it's cheap to start a company, but the long-term fees, they really, it's not like the advice of a local attorney.
Right. So we all want to save money. Everybody wants to save money, which is a great thing usually. But sometimes you save money by consulting a professional, and in this case, an attorney, just to avoid a situation that Jordan expressed. So you are going to want to call. Before we take a break, I'm going to say the number again, 772-589-5500. Jordan Lulich of Lulich Attorneys and Consultants. We have to take a quick 2-minute break. Jordan and I have so much more to talk about when we return, so stay tuned.
It's fun to visit Audrey's Feed and Tack, a distinctive country and western emporium. For simply Southern living, you'll find the finest in cowgirl couture. Styles that are uniquely Florida for the whole family. Upstairs in our boot room, you'll find Ariat, Dan Post, Laredo, and 10 Hall boots. The biggest selection this side of the Big Lake. The freshest and finest feed, hay, and supplies for your chickens and horses and most other farm animals. Audrey's, a great adventure. 66th Avenue and Oslo Road. Like us on Facebook.
Have you heard about the new and exciting changes at the Caribbean Court Boutique Resort? Havana Nights Piano Bar is open 7 days a week from 4:30 till close. Dinner is served from 4:30 to 9. Every evening kicked off with a happy hour, $5 house wine, Wells, and $2 off any beer. Chef's Early Bird Dining Special from 4:30 to 6 includes an entree, glass of wine, and cheesecake for $30. Havana Nights has nightly specials like Sundays, small plate, and all-night happy hour. Mondays, all-you-can-eat prime rib. 2 for Tuesday Thursdays features an extra-large dish that can be shared between 2 people. Entree, salad, and dessert. Includes tequila flights, oyster shooters, and $8 margarita specials, too. For fine dining, Maison Martinique Restaurant from 5 to 9. Wednesday through Saturday. Nightly specials include Wednesday night lobster night. Thursdays, a 3-course dinner for $40. $50 with a bottle of house wine. Enjoy a free glass of wine with your meal when you say Donna 10 at Havana Nights or Maison Martinique Restaurant. Member of the iTex trading community. Your iTex dollars are welcome.
Recycling plastic bottles, jugs, and containers is a good thing, but thin plastic wraps, plastic shopping bags, and hoses should never be placed in your recycling cart. Why? When our recyclables are sent to the material recovery facility, these items get jammed up in the machinery and need to be cut loose. So instead, throw hoses and thin plastic wraps in the garbage and return plastic shopping bags to a collection bin at a local grocery store. To learn more about recycling in Indian River County,
visit us at ircrecycles.com. Indian River County. Roll with us, recycle.
Welcome back to Treasure Coast Connector. I'm your host, Ellen Contreras of the Ferris Group. One of our sponsors, Jordan Lulich of Lulich Attorneys and Consultants of Sebastian and Vero Beach, is here in the studio today. And we've had a great conversation so far. We have a lot more to talk about. So, Jordan, technology. There are so many advancements with technology that covers every area of our work life, our personal life. But when it comes to the legal world, what impact has technology had on your world?
So it's interesting. As a young attorney, I found that my biggest asset is my youth, which, there's many attorneys are older. The average age is quite high. But the fact that I'm in my 20s has been the biggest asset, because attorneys are, I want to say they're almost fearful to have for changes. And most people are fearful for changes, but especially when it comes to technology. Yeah. I mean, think about the day you got your iPhone and you had to switch from, having a Razr or Nextel to iPhone. It was a big change. And naturally for people who are younger, that comes easier. So I've been the leader in the state in kind of pioneering digital real estate closings.
That's very exciting.
So digital real estate closings provides a buyer or seller to not have to be present at closing when all the paperwork are being signed. So, for instance, if you were on vacation in California and your real estate closing was scheduled when you were on vacation, all you would have to do is go on your computer or go on your phone, and then you would be able to actually purchase or sell your home. And that's going to start January 1st, and we've already started doing it in person, and now we're going to start to do it remotely when the law permits us on January 1st. So really excited about that. And if it's what it's going to provide is, right now you can get a mortgage from your couch, you can buy a car from your couch, and now you're going to be able to close your home on your couch. So that convenience factor it makes it so exciting.
In my bunny slippers? No, I don't have bunny slippers. I used to. I don't have them anymore, but I did buy them for someone as a gift, and they loved them, and it was so cute. So anyway, but it's wonderful to be on your couch and just be nice and calm and relaxed, and you can get all of that done, the purchasing of your real estate. So real estate investors, backing up to that again, we talked about that before the commercial break. So an investor can have properties all over, and they can stay wherever it is that they are. Right.
So a colleague of mine, he actually, during the height of the real estate boom back in 2007, 2008, he had purchased, 10, 15 different homes, and he started to unload them over the years. So when he had to unload them, his investors that he purchased the home with, they were all over the world. So he would actually have to fly to Puerto Rico, to San Juan. He had to fly all over.
Terrible.
That's terrible, because a free vacation. No, but I mean, he did get a free vacation, but at the same time, it really plays havoc on your schedule, because you have to take a few days out to go to a vacation. I mean, but he would no longer have to do that. He would just be able to, have them video in to the title company. The title company closes the transaction, and then the deal's done. And we're also going to start doing this so the law that was passed in May, it provides that people can now close real estate transaction digitally, and also wills are going to be done digitally.
Oh, okay.
Now one of the main concerns was, when you have a will, It's, you know, a will is the document that you use when you plan for your death, you know, how your assets are going to be distributed.
Yeah.
And one of the main concerns that the legislator and the feedback that the legislator got when they were writing this law, and it was on the floor, was fraud. Right? Because you close a transaction, you're not there, you know, you write a will and you sign the will and you're not there, that leaves room for possible fraud. It's a fair consideration.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
I've seen the technology, and the technology is legal in so many other states right now that they've done this. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of transactions and wills have been done already, where it goes through a security verification process. So you go on there, they ask you a series of questions. What street did you live on? What bank do you have a mortgage with? And you answer like 5 different questions, and then you take out your ID and you actually scan your ID and make sure it's not fake.
Right.
And then after you get to this point and you pass, then you can move forward. So as far as security measures, the security measures are on point. It really provides a safe way, and it really takes out any possible fraud. So based upon this, the legislator said, okay, you can move forward as long as you have these safeguards in place.
Well, excellent. So now another area I want to touch on is personal injury. And so nobody ever wants to get hurt or involved in an accident.
Right.
But God forbid something like that happens. You know, before they call you, like what do they do? Is there anything that they need to do to prepare? And when they reach out to talk to you, like what is it like after somebody experiences an accident of some sort?
Right. So one of the things I hear from clients many times is when they're involved in an accident and they're not at fault, that the other side, they convincingly try the other person not to call the police.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
one main tip that you can take away from this conversation is to call the police, to report it to the police, to file a police report, because then it's on record. Then it's not he said, she said. You have a police officer who's taking down the information, taking down the insurance
They're on
information.
scene.
They're on
Yeah.
scene, assessing the damage, and then you have someone who's independent, who views it objectively, and there's no he said, she said, because that really, it really jeopardizes a possible case when you don't have that. So if you're involved in an accident, the first thing you should do is call the police and file a police report.
Okay.
Secondly, you should go see medical attention if you need it. Florida law allows up to 14 days from when you're injured in an accident to see a medical provider, and you obtain your entire PIP, personal injury protection.
Oh, okay.
So what that means is that your insurance offers up to $10,000 of personal injury protection if you see a doctor within 14 days.
Okay.
So one of the 2 main things I would say, the piece of advice I can give, is file a police report and seek medical attention, you know, as soon as possible. I personally was involved in an accident a few years ago, and I was with my fiance, and I went to go see a doctor right away. And, you know, against my advice, she didn't go see a doctor because she wasn't hurting at the time. Well, 3 weeks into it, 2.5 weeks into it, she started to get lower back pain. And it was discovered that she, in fact, was injured from the accident. But because she waited that amount of time, she was no longer had those medical benefits from her car insurance because she waited that long. So biggest piece of advice is seek medical attention, even if you're not injured at the time.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Very good. So we are almost out of time, but I think we have maybe 30 seconds to answer a very quick question. And that is about negotiation. You know, when it comes to accidents, that, you know, when people are involved in an accident, I'm just reading off of my notes because this is actually very important. So when someone is making a claim and there's difficulty in negotiation, so please explain that a little bit.
So insurance companies are the largest entities in the United States. They're big. And you know, we love insurance agents. There's nothing wrong with them. I work with friends who are insurance agents, and we need them.
Yes.
Insurance is important. It's the law to have insurance. But at the same time, insurance companies are experienced, skilled negotiators. So when someone tries to file a claim and pursue their own personal injury claim without an attorney, they're going against big bucks. They're going against skilled negotiators. So having an attorney allows them to have equal footing against the insurance companies, which is why I always suggest to have an attorney.
Well, that is wonderful. We are almost out of time. Jordan, thank you so much, because every time you come on, I learn something new. Everybody else does. It's so important to seek the advice of an attorney. So you are going to want to call 772-589-5788 5500 to talk to Stephen and Jordan Lulich of Lulich Attorneys and Consultants. I'm your host, Ellen Contreras of the Ferris Group, and the host of Treasure Coast Connector, I should say. And Ferris Group is one of our sponsors. To learn more about them, check out their website at www.ferrisgroup.com. That's PHARUS group.com, or you can always call me directly at 772-925-4557. I hope everyone has a wonderful and productive week.